So the question is, how do I manage my emotions? Well, that's probably a 5-day seminar or an in-depth coaching relationship to begin to really get through all of it. But I did want to give you at least an answer on how do I do it real time. I'm in the situation, I'm in the scenario, I'm there, and they've provoked me. I've become provoked. How do I pull that back? How do I regain my rational capacity? First, what's important to understand is you've probably lost your rational capacity. Once you're provoked, what's happened is the fight or flight mechanism, the amygdala has been triggered inside of our brain. So the rational capacity, the prefrontal lobe where we make good decisions and rationally manage, has lost control. It's now into fight or flight. You can run 100 meters really, really fast. You can lift a truck. You can punch someone in the nose, but you can't think, and that's the challenge. So now that I've been provoked, how do I regain control? So here we go. First of all, understand this. It will take time to truly calm down. Your brain has released powerful stress hormones, adrenaline, noradrenaline, cortisol. They're flooding the bloodstream, and they are causing all the physiological things to happen. The cold, sweaty palms, the blood is pumped into the torso, your heart is beating quickly, your breathing has become shallow, and hopefully I'm not getting you worked up just by going through it, but all of these things have happened physiologically. And what you need to understand is those drugs that have flooded through the bloodstream take 3.5 hours to get out of there, which means for the next 3.5 hours, you're more vulnerable to take things the wrong way, to be provoked. So once you've been provoked, it's easy to get provoked again, and that's why people's days sometimes spin out of control. But how do I pull it back? The one side is the body has been affected, will stay affected. But here's the other part. You can pull back control. And here's how. Challenge your perception. There's a reason you were provoked. It's not the thing, it's your interpretation of the thing. Let's get an example. I'll simplify it. Maybe this is too simple, but try and play along. Let's pretend you and I have a meeting. We're planning to meet. Let's pretend that you are a successful entrepreneur, as I'm sure you're a very successful individual, and I, let's pretend, am someone who's been begging for your time. I've been begging for your help. We went to high school together, and I've been jobless ever since and seeking help. And I've contacted your assistant, or I've contacted you, and I've begged for your time. You finally blocked out 7 minutes that you can meet with me on a given day, and you pushed your schedule to create that 7-minute gap, and you offered me that 7-minute window to meet in your office, and let's say that 7-minute window starts at 2:37, and at 2:37 you're sitting in your office and I'm not there. How do you feel? You're probably a little bit ticked. 1 minute later, 2:38, you're more ticked, and 2:39 you're more ticked, and you're furious, and you become really outraged. Here's the interesting thing. Is it because you miss me and you want to see me that badly that you're upset that I'm not in your presence? No, you didn't want the meeting in the first place. So it's not that I'm not there that's upset you, but that's the only fact that's for sure. You have interpreted that fact in a specific way. I'm guessing you've taken offense. You feel unappreciated, disrespected, taken for granted, whatever. So those are the emotions that have provoked, those are the perceptions that have provoked the very strong emotional reaction. Now let's get playful. Whatever it is, someone said something, someone did something, something occurred, and it has provoked you. Please know this. It wasn't the event, it was your interpretation of the event that provoked you. Next, let's be playful, getting back to that no-show appointment. Have you ever had someone not show up on time and you have the normal anger thing, if it's normal for you? But then at some point, you switched dramatically from anger to fear, and you went, oh, I hope they're okay. I hope they're not hurt. I hope they weren't in a car accident. I hope they didn't die. And you become very worried about them, and then you can bounce back and forth. I'm really worried. I'm really angry. I'm really worried. And then we end up saying ridiculous statements like, if they're still alive, I'll kill them. But understand this. You're able to switch perceptions, and here's what's important to know. You made it all up. You made it all up. You made up the offense. You made up the accident. You've made it up. All you know for sure is they're not there. You have chosen an interpretation, a perception of what's going on that provoked the emotions. If you're right in your perception, the emotions are valid. Fine. Keep in mind, one, if you're in the presence of someone and lost your emotional edge, that's dangerous. Number two, even if this meeting you survive, the next meeting is going to be affected by this meeting. So being able to regain control is essential. Here's how we do it. Number one, Understand that the perception was made up, so you can choose a different one. You can choose a more supportive perception. Change the dynamic of the story. Let's say someone just cut you off in traffic. You could assume the offense and the ignorance and all that and get angry. Or you could assume this car that just passed you, that cut you off, is rushing a sick child to the hospital. If it was a sick child being rushed to the hospital, you wouldn't be angry. You'd be cheering for them. You'd say, go save the child, and you'd be proud that you were a part of saving a child that day, and very positive emotion. So you could make up a perception that will end up giving you a better day. That's your option. That would be brilliant if you could develop that muscle. Now let me give you the advanced answer. This is advanced. This is so up there, very few can attain it. Answer 1 was choose a more positive perception. Answer number 2, the advanced level, is choose no perception whatsoever. You can choose not to interpret the data. Someone says, you're a low down, no good for nothing. You say, great. So what time is our meeting? And just ignore the data. I did not interpret it. I did not choose to perceive anything. I just let it go. It didn't seem supportive. It didn't seem on target. It didn't seem to be what would help us achieve the objective in the meeting, so it didn't exist. I simply let it go. Person cuts you off, you blink. Don't get angry, don't get happy. Don't cheer for the sick child, don't get angry at the ignorant person. Simply let it go. Someone's not there at 2:38. They're not there. Do something else. You can choose to have no perception whatsoever. And I could tell you some funny stories of where I've actually pulled that off, which is not all the time. But let me assure you, it's hilarious. It's so powerful to realize that you can choose to perceive nothing whatsoever. Allow that stimuli, allow the offense to go by, and just move on and have a great day. You don't have to be provoked. That's the power of perceptions and choosing no perception whatsoever. So that is, how do I keep my cool, real time, in the scenario? This is the secret.